Hey everyone, this episode is sponsored by Fight Energy. Fight is your all-in-one go-to health drink. Fight is not only just an energy booster, it is a mood booster as well. So with your daily dose of vitamins, nootropics, 0 calories, it is your all-in-one health drink. I drink Fight every day. My clients drink it. Someone you probably know drinks it. And you guys, what I'm offering for as we get into 2025, we're doing a discount for 25% off your first order if you type in LYB. Okay, so we'll know that you came from the podcast, and that way we can make sure you get some Fight Energy and some other little goodies thrown in there too. So if you get a chance, we would love to know which team you are. Are you team strawberry? Are you team blueberry? Hey everyone, welcome to the LYB podcast. On today's episode, we got my girl Marissa Seymour. How are you?
I'm so good. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited. You look gorgeous. It's almost like you own your own like beauty, like hair brand and makeup brand. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, really wild.
If you're not watching on YouTube, you should, because Marissa's fabulous. And you've probably seen her in all my videos and everything, and getting it in the gym as well. So she's a client. And all of my beautiful braids that you see today, she did like literally 2 days ago. And they're so fabulous.
I love these braids. They're so pretty.
I was at the nail salon earlier, and somebody literally was like this older lady, she looks over me and she goes, "Your hair is just beautiful. I love the braids." And I'm like, "Thank you." She's like, "You didn't do that yourself." I was like, "Absolutely not." You know what I mean? But everywhere I go, people are like, "Man, they just look so good." I'm like, "Yeah, because you do such a great job."
Thank you.
And you've been doing braids for how long?
So like 2021.
Yeah? Was it 2021? Okay. Isn't that crazy? 4 years?
The end of 2021.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first time?
I remember the first time I met you.
Okay. What was
which
that?
was at an event with the company that I used to work for.
Yes.
It was a Halloween photo shoot.
I got an influencer invite to this thing. Super kind of stressful. I was like, I don't really want to do it. Because it was in a weird place and trying to navigate. And this is at the point where I'm living in Connect.
Yep.
I'm like very much injured, and everything like that. But yeah, and I remember going to that, and I think it was like a tiger or something. I don't know what I was, but you didn't do the makeup on me.
I met you. I didn't braid or do your, but
Yeah.
that kind of was the first time I saw you.
Yeah. Okay. And then your life just changed.
No,
right?
it's been history ever since.
Yes.
Literally.
So tell them about, a little bit before we get more into our story and everything, like where are you from? What brought you to Nashville? All the good stuff.
Cool. So I'm born and raised Knoxville, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
So little country vibes. Now
like in the city, like in Knoxville, or is it like the outskirts?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my family were in the outskirts.
Okay.
Like in the sticks, we like to call it.
Yeah.
Country vibes.
Okay.
But my papa lives on like a hill.
Yeah.
Like a mini donkey.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
But what prompted me to move to Nashville, I actually just always wanted to go to the Academy of Makeup Arts when I first was looking for places to move. I always wanted to move outside of Knoxville.
Okay.
I just knew I was too big for that city. Mm-hmm. My dreams were too big.
That's what I was going to ask, because I went to school there. So I went to college at UT Knoxville. So for me, like leaving Murfreesboro to go there, it was like, okay, it's better to me than MTSU. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, and I get to be a little bit away, but still enough where I can come back, But I just remember being there and I don't know, when people told me that they were from there, I was like, I just don't know if I would have loved to live there, know, or past school. It just seemed very much like college, and that was it, I didn't see myself being in there. So I get that whole notion of wanting more, or there's something, bigger, better Nashville, that kind of vibe.
Yep. Especially with the school being there. It is such a college town. I was like, I either have to go to college or make something of myself, and I'm going to make something of myself.
Yeah.
So I actually moved to Nashville with an ex, a long-term ex of mine. And that was just our goal, was to move out of our hometown, do something different, kind of break a cycle, a mini cycle at the time, just breaking away from home life there. But I moved here in 2018, 2019. I believe it was 2019.
Okay.
Officially, but I moved right before COVID.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, and I love it here. It's my absolute dream to be here.
Oh, well, I love that you're here, because you've just been so amazing. You've seen so many different seasons of Dandy Fitness. And
likewise.
You know what I mean? Yes. And so it's been very cool to, see from you coming, because when you started braiding my hair, it was at Connect, and so that was a time, that whole influencer era, and training my clients, and you always were so positive about the brand, and always just so, just always so supportive. And that was really special to me just because like, I had other people, doing my stuff, before and like doing my hair or whatever. And it just seemed like you were always like, like the biggest like cheerleader.
You're always like, I have a lot of hair. And I'm like, okay, let's go.
No, like it was never like an inconvenience also
Never.
either, which was nice to feel like, cause it, a lot of that always gets so frustrating and you're like, sorry about it. Like, this is me,
Exactly.
And then I think it was for like my Christmas party, you did my makeup for like, and that was like the first time we did my makeup and everything. And yeah, so that's why I've been looking fabulous, you guys, whenever you see me going to places and doing things. And, but seriously, you are very talented with your braids because
Thank you.
I said, I've had some ratchet braids before and,
Thank you.
and so you always do the best job. And makeup too.
You're like made for braids. Braids are made for you,
Thank
you know?
you.
Yeah.
I
love doing them. We create some really cool stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And the other thing I was going to say is that when it comes to, you've even done my makeup for bodybuilding. And so I don't know if people know that. And so, which has been really cool. So from your perspective, like, because now you're a client. So kind of walk me through, from when you first like, kind of saw the brand from the outside to like now with experiencing it. Like, how has it been? Was it kind of like what you expected? Was it kind of better than you expected? Like what, like worse? Like what was like that for you?
When I first met you, like you had a mission that was unlike anything that I ever have seen. I trained with multiple people before I even moved to Nashville, like when I was younger.
Okay.
And it was always so like hardcore and like there wasn't like a mission. It was just like eat right, get healthy, like gym life.
Yeah.
But your mission is literally about loving yourself, like from the inside out and loving your body in all like cycles of life and like loving your body no matter what you go through and like staying true to like authenticity.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people lack that. And that's what like really drew me to you. And like when I started braiding your hair consistently, I was like, this is really cool because this girl is so cool. Oh. She's a personal trainer. She has her own brand. She's out here doing it. And like, it really just spoke to me as someone who is like, I go against the grain of life. And I just feel like you have a brand that goes against like what society says or like what people say. Yeah. And you're so unapologetic about that. And I love that about you.
I'm so glad you love that.
Yes. I've always wanted to be a client of yours. That's always been my goal. Yeah. And I've worked out with you a few times. I remember one time I literally threw up in the middle of our workout or maybe at the end of our workout. Yeah. And you were so nice. You were like, here's a gold bar.
Not the gold bar. No, yeah. I was like, here's
You were like,
fuel.
so you didn't eat.
Yeah.
So you didn't drink water, whatever you didn't do. But you were always so positive and like you always like your workouts were always like I walked away feeling empowered. And I feel like that's really important. Yeah. Is to have someone, especially a trainer, especially someone kind of coaching you and guiding you with health to just be as positive as you was just such a refreshing thing to me. So I love that. Now that I'm a client and it's been 4 years, it took me to be like a client of yours. But I could say it came at a time in my life when I was ready for it. Yeah. So I feel like with everything, I had to decide. I had to get out of circumstances and things like that allowed me to own that and be like, yeah, let's start working with Danny. But it's definitely changed my whole perspective. And like I see a lot of things very differently training with you and like again your mission and like what you speak for and like what you stand for. So I'm just super happy to be a client of yours and it's exactly what I expected.
Okay, well,
like
good.
I love like you are
What?
You are so chaotic, but I love it and it's the best way. And it's like the best version of chaos that you could ever think of. Like it's not a negative thing at all, but you're like, let's go. Yeah. Like, let's go. What are your goals? Like, let's hit them. Like, let's not make excuses. Like, you know what I mean?
100%.
And I feel like that's so needed. Yeah. But you're just like, you take no BS. Yeah. And I just love that. So training with you is exactly what I expected. It actually exceeded my expectations. Like I have been waiting for the light to switch. and like make a lifestyle change, like a real lifestyle change,
Right.
instead of just being like, I want this, or like it's a thought.
Yeah.
Like I'm actually living it.
Yeah.
And that's because of you.
Thank you so much, Marissa. That was beautiful. And I really, that meant so much because, you know, I think you said it so plainly in a sense of it was about, you know, creating your reality. Like this is like, again, what you envision for yourself, like being allowed to dream big and have these thoughts and then not be diminished and then to be celebrated, you know, and to have that support. And that's kind of like where it's hard for me to explain when people are like, well, what do you do? You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I help people love their body. Well, I help most of the time, you know, for me now it's more like help women love themselves, you know, and love their bodies through movement. And people, I feel like, don't really get it, if that makes sense. And we've talked about this, you know, a lot. And it's hard because I'm like, I don't know how to be like, I'm your number one supporter. Like, and that is what is so, because I've done it alone. Like I've been on your journey by myself where nobody cared. You know what I mean? I didn't have like a Caitlin, like, you know, or somebody that's like going with me and like, you know, and doing these things and whatever. And it was just so disheartening because it was like, if I stop, who cares? Like,
it's just me.
Like literally.
It's just
like,
you.
Yeah. And it was one of those things where I had to like, I mean, literally find something every day. And that's why like I have my bands and like, you know, fight for what you want and everything on my wrist, because it reminds me constantly, like, what are you fighting for? Like me just moving my body sets an example for a lot of people. You know what I mean? And so it's like, it's again, and it's hard though to find that until you're finally at that point where you're like, I'm ready to do this.
Exactly.
And so I love that, you know, you didn't feel pressured one way or another, and you were just like, whenever I'm ready, you know. And I knew you were going to come to that.
You have your arms open always, and you're like, whenever you're ready, like I'm here.
Yeah.
And that's like when you said fight for what you want. That's literally a motto that's become like a part of my daily life, my business partner's daily life.
Yeah.
Like seriously, fight for what you want should be like a tattoo on my body.
Hey, you're
because
the one to do it. Like, you're the one that would totally
I pop up with it.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding.
What'd you say?
You know, I will do it.
Oh, I know you will. Ricky said the same thing. Like, it's so funny. And I'm like, I could totally see like LYB for like me, you know, but I don't have any tattoos. So, you know, it'd be like, but it is that whole thing of, I literally wear these bands every day and I look down at it and it does help me. It is that constant reminder. It's that thing that I'm like, come on, like, you know, to take me out of whether I'm in a negative state or frustrated or I'm like, I don't have time or whatever, you know? So I love that. And I love that that's something, a motto you could resonate with. So would you say that one is the main one out of like, get your movement in, love your body, fight for what you want?
Yeah, fight for what you want is a thing that's always in the back of my head because there's been so many situations where I have had to fight for what I want literally and like fight for things to change, fight for better, fight for whatever.
Right.
And to get your movement in and love your body, like that comes naturally, I feel like. But there's always like this little voice in the back of my head that's like, fight for what you want.
And it's so interesting to hear that because every single person's different. You know what I mean? And has a different why and has a different, and that's where when you really dissect it, like, you know, for some of my clients who've sat here, I mean, theirs is love your body. Then they hear that, you know what I'm saying? And they're like, cause that's like the prominent thing in their mind. And, you know, and so it's just interesting how it, all three of of my triangle, the LYB method, like it works, like, you know what I'm saying? But with whichever one you start with, but it's really cool to hear that one's yours. And so I love that. And so, you know, you also understand like being an entrepreneur and everything. So tell everybody kind of your business, why, like how that got started and all of that.
Big loaded question.
Yeah.
So in 2023, I met my business partner, Caitlin, to make a long story short.
Yeah.
The first day we met was the day we started Glam Up, basically.
Yeah.
Essentially. I didn't know her before we started Glam Up, but I'm one of two owners of Glam Up Nashville. We are Nashville's #1 on-demand hair and makeup team.
Hey, yes.
You can book us same day up to 4 hours in advance.
Yeah.
We do bridal, bachelorette parties.
Nice.
Disco strands, hair tinsel, you know it, all the things.
All the shimmers you ever see in my hair, those are from them, yes.
It's been really, really cool. I'm quite literally like following my dreams. Like I'm living my dream.
Right. Did you ever think, being back in Knoxville, like that this was like, because like, did you have this in your mind of like, that's the dream? Or was it like, I know that I have big dreams, I don't know exactly what it's going to look like yet?
It was kind of like that. Like I knew I had this big dream. I knew my big dream was in the hair and makeup. Well, at the time it was just makeup.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I started doing hair with the other company.
Yeah.
So that was my first dibble in hair. But as a makeup artist, being in Nashville, I was like, whatever's meant for me is there, and it's big. Like I know I'm meant to do big things. And so, Glam Up came just from passion and like, fighting for what I want.
Yes, I love. And so, and it is growing, and it's amazing to watch you. And so what I'm wondering was, did you feel like in the Nashville market that like hair braiding was more saturated, or like makeup would be more saturated, right?
It is so saturated.
Okay.
Makeup.
Yeah.
Braiding is really easy to stand out because not many people do it.
Yeah. Okay. So that was more the niche, and then but then a lot of people need makeup though. So it's like, okay.
Yep.
So, and that's why you kind of brought the two together, you feel like, with Glam Up? Okay.
Yep. Especially for bachelorettes too, just because Nashville's such a huge tourist space. Like it would be an undervalue to like not tap into the tourist market.
Definitely.
At all.
Well, and to be that one-stop shop for them.
And they love braids.
Yeah.
Like Broadway worthy braids is what we call our braiding service. Like it's just so fun.
Yeah.
Because it sets the tone. Like we're creating fun braids, like Danny's braids.
Yes.
Like all her braids are always so fun.
And they all have a different like vibe too.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Which is
they
cool.
all have a different vibe.
Because today we wanted to be like, you know, kind of like boho, fun, like and but still like can get my workout in and it be, you know, like it still stay, you know, intact and look so good. But then we have like the workout braids, you know, which so I love those and stuff. But yeah, I love all of them. But
there's been so many braids.
I know, so many amazing.
Glam Up has been really awesome though. Again, tying the bachelorette with the braids and then the makeup, like, but we really stand out. We really do a lot of things that a lot of other agencies, makeup artists and companies like don't do. We really focus on being different and like not blending in. Does that make sense?
For sure. It definitely does. Which you have to do as an entrepreneur. Like you have to find a way to differentiate yourself. And that was something that, you know, Dandy Fitness, I mean, coming out the gate, like came out hot.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I'm going to have like shirts with my, like, let's just like put, and you've probably been in this same position. Like we probably all here have, but like, let's just put the mindset back. Okay. Like take it back like 7, 8 years, whatever. And where literally, I don't know if it's going to succeed, but I'm like, I'm going to make all these shirts that have my name on it. So like, but you know how like, if I would have feared that, how embarrassing that could have been.
Yeah.
That it's like, I got like 60 shirts here. Everyone buy one. So like, you know, whatever. And then like wear them. But then like, is it going to be like, anyway, and it was so funny because literally a guy from my high school sent me a shirt. We went to college together too. Sent me a picture yesterday, I guess after I posted like the news and whatever, but sent me a picture of his, like one of my OG Dandy Fitness, like get your movement in shirts.
Oh my God.
Forgot that one was even a thing.
Nostalgia.
Long sleeve, gray, whatever. And he sent me, that's all he said.
You're like, wow.
I was like, thanks for taking me back. Like maybe because he was, I'm putting two and two together. He's like, oh, the news. And then like, you know, where you came from or whatever. But I just thought that was so cool because it's like, I had no shame. And I feel like with you guys too, I mean, you came out the gate, like being like, we're just like, we can take any, you know, we're like, we'll be there, event, whatever you need, you know, which was so cool. Because I feel like a lot of services in Nashville, like it's so challenging. People are already overwhelmed. They're already going from one thing to the next, you know, like me today, like whatever. And it's just one less thing to not have to think about, you know. I mean, like even with the CMA, you know, awards thing, and you come in here and doing that for me. Like I couldn't have gone to a boutique place or whatever and got my stuff done at, like I would have had to do way earlier in the day, hoped my makeup and hair all stayed. And you know what I mean?
Yep.
And so that was such a luxury.
I love that you love that.
Yeah.
One thing that I love about Glam Up is that we do come on location. So we literally come to Airbnb's houses.
Yeah.
I'm in some of the coolest hotels in Nashville, like all the time.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
Do you guys, for everybody know, because the name is Glam Up Nashville, right? So, okay. So do you go outside of Nashville though? Or
yeah, we travel anywhere.
Okay. So within like, is it like within what radius for people listening?
I mean, I've gone to Smoky Mountains, girl.
Yeah, I was about to say, yes.
Yeah,
awesome.
I've traveled. I mean, we travel all around. Travel fees may apply, but
Read that fine print right there.
But it's like we really travel anywhere.
Yeah.
I have clients who I have flights this year.
Oh, that's so exciting.
Like going to different places, like just doing hair and makeup for people who just need it.
Yeah.
And that's literally what I feel like Glam Up is. And I mean this in the best way. Glam Up is everything that's been done wrong in the industry here in Nashville, and we're doing it right.
Yeah.
And like we're changing the trajectory of like the beauty industry here because it is so negative and toxic, and we just don't want to be that at all, and just stand out.
Yeah. So talk about a little bit, because you said earlier that you're somebody that goes against the grain, right? So like where kind of does that come from? Was that something that you realized when you were like little, that you just like acted differently, or was it like how, like what's your story with that?
Yeah, that's another loaded question. I've always felt different. I've always felt like just different. I've always been like, I'm so weird. And like, that's a compliment. Yeah. Like if someone were to call me weird, I'm like, thank you. Yeah. You know?
I mean, you got your alien earrings.
No,
in.
I know.
Like,
I know. I'm ready for the invasion.
Right. Yes. Yeah. She's like, I can just see it now. The news is like, and then Marissa's like walking up willfully. Like everyone's running, and she's
like, I'm waiting. I've been waiting.
She's like waving by at the news, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Like, I'm so ready.
Yeah.
No, but I just love that I'm able to live in that. A lot of people, I feel like, can be... My biggest goal for myself is just to be authentic. Yeah. And not everyone has the ability to be their authentic self. And I'm still working and learning like what that is for me. But throughout life, I grew up pretty conservative, I would say. And I've had to kind of pull myself out of like a shell of like who you're supposed to be, how you're supposed to act, and like just be myself and like be my true self. Yeah. And I'm just very happy to be living in that with my alien earrings and tooth gems and all the things.
No, I love that. So, and again, it goes back to, I think that's why you related so well with the brand from an early, like you said, from meeting and being like, wow, like this is actually real. Like this isn't just
you're real. Like it's like you are like the reason. Like you're so real.
Thank you.
And like you keep it real. So the brand is you. Like that's what drew me, was you. So
well, thanks, girl. I appreciate that, because that was like someone else said that recently on the podcast as well. Someone I just met for the first time, and was like, it was very what's the word? Like transferable. Like from like if I watched you on Instagram and then like seeing you right here, like it was very the same. Like you didn't feel like any type of different way, and I loved that, because literally I had met him for like 2 seconds, and so that's what I've always wanted people to understand, that like, you know what I mean, that this isn't perfect by any means, like life is not whatever, but it's if we continue to hide behind this layer and we don't share our struggles, we don't share the things that have gone wrong with the health or fitness or whatever we've experienced, then we can't help other people, you know? And I feel like it's a disservice. And I feel like so many people, I think I told you this, like on my Instagram, I did a post in the caption, I said, I was like, how great would it be if we stopped looking like we had it all together and we actually did in 2025? You know? I mean, I literally saw someone, it's crazy. I saw someone post the other day, and like they literally just found out they have a brain tumor, but they're talking about this amazing trip they went on. And I was like, okay, so like,
are you good?
But yeah, like,
are you good?
But seriously, right? And I'm just like, what? Like, I mean, because again, I get the perspective, like you want to have some things like not open to everyone and like whatever, but the whole just putting on and whatever, it's just like, that's not real. And like, that's another reason too, with like the workout videos, you know, some people are like, why don't you do more like whatever? I'm like, because when I work out, like, I mean, I do like my clips and stuff, whatever, but like not like tutorials and stuff, because like, I'm not pleasant. Like you know
I'm
what
sweating,
I mean? And I'm sweating,
trying to breathe.
It's uncomfortable. Like I'm like hunched over. I'm like making noises. Like, I mean, you know what I mean? Like it's not a okay, here we go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like even with MoveFit, like MoveFit is still like, you know, we're dancing, having fun and whatever. But I'm like, we're getting it. We're in it. There's a reason. There's a purpose. You know what I mean? Like behind that, it's a fun. You know, it's the most I would say like out there I am with my workout classes and stuff. But like but yeah, because that's like a performance and everything. But I'm still like even at the end, I go through this whole thing of like, if you've ever felt like you don't matter, like that you know what I mean? That people have like taken something from you or stolen something or whatever. Like, this is your space. Like, this is your freedom. Like, break through that barrier.
Absolutely.
You know? And people need to hear that. It's more than just dancing and just, you know, and whatever. Yep. And that's why, you know, MUFA is so special to me. But yeah, so when we talk about like with the entrepreneur stuff, right? So do you feel like, you know, like with meeting Caitlin, like, was that just like, I mean, did you feel like that was kind of like a God thing, like a universe thing? Like how, you know, like, did you imagine or manifest that you wanted someone like her to help you? Like,
okay, I could give you the real story.
If you're open to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So after I left said company that we both know,
Yes.
I really felt discouraged and like I know this is something, because now I'm doing hair, not just makeup. So now I'm like, wow, I have this skill. And like, they had like this contract where he was like, you can't work after you work for us.
Right.
Like, you can't do this. Like, we taught you this.
Right.
And I was like, you know what? Like, no, that's actually against the law, first of all. But you're not going to tell me. Like, I'm going to take this power back and I'm going to like make this my own. After all of that, I moved back home. I don't know if, I think I did your hair up until I moved to Chicago, right?
Yes.
So after I moved back from Chicago, I moved back home. I think
it was like right before a week before you left. I was like, get me another. And
it was so random too. You were like, wait, what? And I was like, anyways.
Yeah. I was like, but like, you'll be back on occasion. You're like, yeah, kind of.
Maybe.
I was like, right.
Yikes.
Yeah. That's why people can tell difference how my hair looked when I had to have other people do it, Marissa. It was very unfortunate. I'm not even going to bring it up, but it was unfortunate.
Side braid struggles.
Bruh. Get it right.
No, exactly. So I moved back home. I was living with my mom. I love my mom. Thank you so much, Mom, for having an open door. But no one wants to move back home with their parent as an adult. It was very hard for me. Circumstance allowed it, which is fine. I'm, again, thankful for my mother. But I was living in Knoxville. I'm like, man, I just moved from the city that I knew I was supposed to make dreams in, like Nashville. Like, wow, like, how am I going to get back? Like, I feel like I'm so far behind now. Like, I had clientele, like the whole thing. And it's just like, I dipped in an instant and just like was off the grid.
Right.
I wasn't inspired. I wasn't really doing makeup or hair, maybe on my siblings or whatever. But I was like, look, I have to like get back on track. Like, get up. Like, let's do this. Right. I had a conversation with one of the braider girls from the company.
Okay.
She was one of their original trainers.
Yeah.
And I reached out to her actually anonymously at first because I was so nervous. Like, that's how bad the ending was with the other company. Like, I was afraid to actually say something to her.
Right.
And like, be like, hey girl, like, I need help.
Yeah.
So I reached out to her. And she was like open, because I was like, I'm not going to tell you who I am until you agree that like this is chill. And so it was chill, thankfully. But again, I shouldn't have had to do that.
Right.
But I asked her, I was like, look, I'm living at home. I want to get back to Nashville. I really want to continue to do this braid thing. Like, I'm so good at it.
Yes.
Obviously I love doing makeup. And she's like, look, you could have a business partner. You could do that yourself. She basically just gave me tons of business advice.
Love that.
And she was super positive. And I was like, okay. I had a journal. I was writing everything down. Yeah. I was actually at work when I talked to her, and I stopped working just to talk to her because that's how, like, I was like, look, I need to talk to you.
Just doing
set
like
my intentions.
Like, just
I was working.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for subscribing to the Love Your Body podcast on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you're listening. I appreciate you so much for sharing these stories, listening, and just, you know, being a part of the DDF community. If you are interested in any challenges I have coming up, the Get Your Movement In Challenge is launching here soon, so stay tuned for that, as well as online programming. Would love to work with you from all over. over. And you guys, I'm just so blessed and so thankful for this season of time. Please, if you get a chance to share the mission, rate the podcast, whatever you want to do, comment, let us know what you think about it. We would love the support, and we're always looking for sponsors. So if you're someone that's listening right now and you want to get your business out there as well, we'd love to have you as a sponsor. And so let us know at Danny@DannyFitness.com.
You can find me on Instagram at Glam from Mars with a Z. Also, Glam Up Nashville if you want to find out more about my business and to book. Thank you. At an auto body shop for a year when I moved from Chicago to Nashville.
Gotcha.
Like a actual like car
Chicago
place.
to Knoxville, or was it?
Yeah, I moved from so I lived in Nashville up until I told you I was moving to Chicago. I lived in Chicago for like 7 months.
Yeah.
After I lived in Chicago, I moved back home.
Okay.
Like due to
Yeah.
that stupid relationship I was in.
Yeah.
But while I was home, this is like why I talked to her, because I was just like so over it. I was like, I don't want to be in Knoxville. I'm living with my mom. Like, this is not what I want. Yeah. She was just pouring life into me, and I was so thankful for her.
That's great.
And I was like taking notes and like really like inspired.
Yeah.
2 or 3 days later, I get a DM on my braid page from a random girl named Inked Brows. And it was Caitlin.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I was like, yeah, that's Caitlin's IG. Yeah.
And she was like, look, this may sound weird. Like, you may not think like this can be weird to you, if that's fine. But she was like, I had a tarot card reading.
Okay.
And she was like, my tarot card reader told me that I would meet someone out of this world to do business with.
Oh my gosh.
And she was like, your name is Mars.
Yeah.
I don't think it get any clearer than that.
Wow.
Because like Mars, space, planet, out of the world.
Right.
It was like, for me, and at this point we were talking on the phone and she was explaining it to me, and she was like, you probably think I sound crazy. And I was like, actually, no.
That's awesome.
Actually, this is confirmation for me.
Right.
Of course I was skeptical at first. Like, I don't know her. She didn't know me.
Yeah.
But the fact that she was bold enough to reach out to me and she's like, I have this, like, I really want to do something like what you're doing, like bachelorette, makeup, how can we work? How can we do this? Like, basically.
Wow.
And I was like, funny enough, I manifested this 2 or 3 days ago.
Literally. Yeah.
I didn't know that I was meant to do business with someone else.
Yeah.
I'm a very independent type of woman where like I own that, but I literally couldn't see owning Glam Up solo.
Right.
Like, we were meant to do this together. So when I met her, it was just all this confirmation. Like, she got confirmation, I got confirmation.
Yeah.
And
it's seamless almost.
It was so seamless. In the first year of business, almost, I was living in Knoxville.
Yeah.
While she was here, foot on the ground, like doing the hard work.
Right.
So I'm super thankful for her for that, because we learned a lot together being in different places. Like, I had to rely on her a lot.
For sure.
Because she's here.
Right.
But once I moved, it was like when we met, we just became soul sisters. We like to say we're soul sisters and we're besties, and we just do life together, literally.
Yeah.
And we run a fantastic business.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Like, because really, again, very independent, strong woman, all these things. And so to have somebody be so confident, it's almost like it's immediately like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? Versus like the whole, like, trying to make it work, trying to fit it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's such a blessing that she, like, even was able to do that.
And I told my girlfriend, I was like, this girl just hit me up.
Yeah.
Like, I'm kind of skeptical, but like, I could go back to like, this is like my key back to Nashville.
Right.
So it all worked out, and it was like perfect. It literally couldn't have happened better. And what's actually so funny is my boss, for the first time in my life, I was laid off from my auto body shop job.
Okay.
I was office accountant. I did like invoicing and all the things.
Yeah.
He cut positions and he cut mine.
Okay.
For like financial reasons for the company. And she was like, I have a spare bedroom. Come on.
Wow.
And I was like, girl, you have like a husband and a kid. Like, what do you mean? Like, I don't want to like intrude. She's like, seriously?
Yeah.
You can sleep in my spare bedroom, like, until you like figure it out.
Wow.
And at the time it felt so good and like weird at the same time, because I've always been the type to like have my own place.
Right.
like be above water, like to kind of have a struggle moment in my late 20s was like really hard for me to accept her help and like accept that, but it was just meant to be that way.
Do you feel like you just had a hard time trusting like anybody, like thinking
Absolutely,
that
especially
maybe
a woman, another woman,
right?
Yeah.
Because do you feel like from past experiences that like growing up and stuff like that, like do you feel like everything was very transactional? Like it's like if you did this, then like something's gonna happen that like you're gonna have to.
I was like, what's the catch? Like what's gonna happen? Like I'm gonna get a flat tire on the way there. It's my sign, or like I was just like, I mean, trust issues, yes.
Yeah.
But it's also like strangers asking me to come live in her house. I don't know her from Adam.
Right.
I don't know her husband. I don't know her kid.
Yeah.
They're like family now, but it was like in the moment, it was like, I have to just trust that this is my journey.
Right.
And I've never looked back since.
Yeah. That's so cool. So you had mentioned your girlfriend that you have now. So does that kind of go back to when you talked about like kind of going against the grain and like feeling kind of like on the outside? Like was because like you said, Knoxville was where you grew up. So was like that kind of a hard thing? Like,
yeah, like, so like I grew up in the church, girl. Like I grew up very religious. I grew up going to church. I sung in the choir like for years up until I went to Easter service. I think that was my last time ever in the church, was like Easter service with my mom when I was like 21.
Okay.
Like 20.
Do you just feel like you haven't wanted to go back or just like couldn't go back?
So I had a huge spiritual awakening later in life, but growing up for sure, it was one of those things. Like I knew I liked females, but I was like a church girl. Like I prayed it away.
Yeah.
Talked to God, asked him to take my gayness away, whatever. I didn't know what to call it then. So I knew since I was in elementary school that I was attracted to women or other females. There was like a little incident where like I kissed a girl in elementary school and like no one even knows that story. Like it was just like one of those things that like, it was just like I was a kid just doing something innocent, not knowing that was like a thought that I was having like as a child.
Right.
And growing up in the church and stuff, it was always like, let's find you a godly man. And like, I love that. Like I still respect religion and everything like that. I'm just not like a religious person anymore. But I still believe in all the core values of like prayer and stuff like that. And I'll never judge anyone, but I definitely had to disconnect myself to be fully authentic and own that, because so much of who I am is like what the church goes against, like being gay or believing in aliens or like ghosts or paranormal, supernatural, like all these things. And it's not that I'm like deep into it. I just am like,
well, it's a hard line, right? Because
it is very hard.
It's, you know, because me and Katie talk about this all the time. I mean, literally in the LYB at 6 a.m. talking about like, you know, ghosts and supernatural and like all of the things. And like, well, how can this exist, but then this exists?
That's literally,
right. And so we have like those conversations, and I've had that with several clients actually, but, and to just kind of talk it out, because I don't know everything like from the Bible or what it says specifically on certain things. Right. So I'm trying to, you know, not trying, but like doing it, but like reading more to gather the information to understand, you know, and to really like, because even like up till recently, like we studied the book of Revelation, and like we've always been taught, or I thought, right, that you're going to go like heaven, go to up to heaven. Like heaven's going to be brought down here. Like heaven's, you know what I mean? So like
the gates will open.
Like, but like it'll be here, and like it'll be a perfect world, and we will be perfect. And like, you know, and it's things like that that you're just like, oh my gosh, that makes so much more sense.
It's mind opening.
Yeah, exactly. So the more you learn and the more knowledge you have about it. And so for me, and like what I told her as well, it's like, it's not about going to church every week just to say you went to church and then, you know, going in there and feeling uncomfortable or whatever. Like your relationship with God is your relationship with God. Like you're speaking to him. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's what matters. That's what saved people. That's what a real Christian is, you know? And so I hate that, you know, because Michael's been on the podcast as well. And Michael's my best gay friend since I was like 15, you know? And it's like, I hate that he's been made to feel a certain type of way. So he, you know, he doesn't go to church either. Right. And that's why I always talk to him. I'm like, your relationship is your relationship. You know? Absolutely. And so like, if you choose to grow that, like I'm here to support, and I love that. And I hope that, you know, that happens obviously, but it's just, it is disheartening, but I think that happens with any type of, you saw it with like business, with the business that you originally were with, right? Like, and how it can get so toxic when there's really no need. You know what I mean? Like because of these parameters or these harsh rules or, you know, whatever. So anyways, but I find it just so like, what was the word I was going to say? Like just not, it's not, I mean, I guess it is inspiring, but it's been so great to watch you and see how much you've grown through such traumatic, you know what I mean? Like things.
BS.
Yeah. Like nonsense. Right. But again, it's rare that I get to see like, cause when they're not clients, right? Like, cause that I get to walk with a client, you know, through their path. So I see the divorce. I see
You've been with me through every stage of life.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. Which has been so special. But
well, every major stage of life, at least in my 20s, all the major things that have happened. And when I say major, it's been relationship based, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But you've been like, you've seen like all those phases. And like, I'm happy that you can see like, there's a change. And that's because I feel it. Because I'm like, girl.
Well, even just like now, I mean, with your workout stuff, like over Christmas break, I mean, I get a notification, like Mars is working out in the gym. It's like in a gym, like a full on, you know what I mean? And like you're in there alone working out. And then like, you know, or your best friend and you know, doing stuff. And I was just like, again, my expectations with people over the holiday is spend your holiday if you want to do it like on routine, awesome. If you're taking off, you know, that's fine. Move some type of way, feel your body, you know, whatever. And you were in it. Like the goals that we set, like you crushed them.
I don't have time to girl.
Yeah.
I want to eat the things.
Yeah.
That's too far. I can't go back. We got to go forward.
Yes.
Maybe when I hit some goals, like cool, but, and we talk about it. I take it easy on myself, but yes, like keep staying on track is important right now for me.
For sure. But also, again, because you're doing it in a realistic, healthy lifestyle way, right? And so, so tell them too, because I definitely want to like, you know, I want people to know. So kind of body composition, like if they're not watching and stuff like this, like how would you describe yourself, you know, or had you describe yourself before movement? And then how would you say, like in terms of like weight loss, like how has that gone for you so far? Like, you know, what would you tell them?
Yeah, so before ever starting my journey with Danny, I was in a body and still am in a body that I'm not happy with. And I've always known that I wanted to make changes, but yet I'm the only person in my way, right? So like I said earlier, it's one of those things like I had to literally get out of my own way to be able to see the next chapter of my life requires me to be the best version of myself, quite literally.
Yeah.
And I can't enter like this entrepreneurship and like all this being in the same mindset, in the same comfortable state. And so like body composition wise, I'm definitely curvacious, got some hips and dips and all the things.
Yes.
I'm very busty. A lot of things work against me, but that's okay. I hit a weight that I never thought that I would ever hit. And I looked at the scale and like, I didn't cry, but I almost did.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, it showed me like why I've gotten here through circumstance, comfortability, like whatever. But like, of course, we're not the number on the scale. We're not worth just that number.
Right.
But from a health aspect and like for me, I just want to be strong and I want to feel strong and I want to feel beautiful. And like literally, I want to literally like love your body. That's like my next motto that I want to fully encapsulate.
I love that.
Because I don't. And I do, but it's like I want to be the best version of myself.
Right. But the thing, and this is something that we talk about, that I mean, every day, all day about, is that both can exist, right?
Absolutely.
Where you don't love yourself right now, but also you do. Like there's parts of your body you love. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so again, it's not this like one day you're just like, you know, I love every aspect of every possible thing, you know, and that's the thing too, that I think people get twisted, right?
Yeah.
They think, okay, like, you know, whatever. And it's like, no, like you're going to have times, especially as a woman, like where you're bloated or where you don't feel like you got some skin issues or you got something like, there's always something you can pick apart. And that's what people don't understand. There's always something you can pick apart. Always. And that's not even if you start comparing yourself. We're not even going to get into that because a lot of people tend to do that too. It's irrelevant. It's more of like if you just look at yourself, you could pick every even positive thing apart. But when you start to focus on positive affirmations, changing the narrative, talking to yourself more kindly, that's when you start to love yourself more.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And the biggest thing that when I talk about with Dandy Fitness is that, you know, because people will say body positivity is like whatever, so whatever, right? It's like, I don't think y'all, again, still understand. It's loving your body through movement. Because like, how many times have you gone in the LYB now and done something, you're like, I can't believe I just did that. Like the plank on the ball, or, you know, the TRX rows or the pull-ups or whatever. And you're like, man, those sucked. But like, I just feel so good. And you can tell in your energy, you know what I mean? And in your face, like, you know what I mean? And like, and that's what's so special to watch, because you are so capable, and all of my clients are, but it's just not getting in your way, like not getting in that, letting that mental negativity completely take over everything that you're
absolutely
pushing for.
Because it's easy to. It's easy for me I could sit back and be like, I hate this, I want to change this, but it's like I'm just sitting there, thinking about all the things I want to change, and it's like, when was it actually going to happen?
Right.
And I remember braiding your hair, and I was like, girl, I need to train with you. Like, it's time.
Yeah. Well,
and you were like, let's go.
Well, because let's go. That's exactly right. But that's why I tell everybody, I'm like, because I know that when you make that mental shift, you better capitalize on it right now, because it will go away.
Absolutely.
And so many people think, oh no, I made the shift. Like, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's like, no, like, so you did everything.
And before the new year, like in the middle of, like after my birthday.
Yeah.
And that's one thing too. Like, I turned 30 in 2024.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I am not where I want to be at 30. Like, as far as like my goals that I had for myself.
Well, because I think I remember you telling me that you were like doing hair and like your back was hurting.
Girl,
and, like,
I had a moment where like I couldn't move.
Yeah.
I had to tell Caitlin, girl, I can't do this appointment. Like, I can't even get out of the bed. And I've never been in pain like that in my life.
Right.
Like, I was like, whoa, like, okay, girl. And it was obviously indicative of like extra weight on my body that was just, I'm just like carrying around.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing. Like, it's not a body shame thing. Like, all bodies are truly beautiful. But for me, once it's affecting me, like, oh yeah, let's work it.
But that's the thing, right? Is that like so many people, and that's where movement is so like a part of the mission, because I know what it's like to feel like that, where it's hard to walk up the steps and without getting out of breath, or to, you know, teach a class, but be like, man, if I only felt better, I could have done all the movements, you know, or not got as winded or whatever, right? Or my mile time would have been a little bit faster, or like whatever it was. And so when I looked at stuff like that, it's like, even with my back injury, I mean, the main thing they say is you have to build your core. And I was like, well, I got a strong core, but like, yeah, a little bit of extra, you know, body fat and stuff is getting in the way. And that's where my back would start to really hurt and be in pain and stuff, you know? So I definitely get that. So when you had that moment, so, you know, and you kind of hit the ground running, working out, you know, Dandy Fitness, and then doing all your stuff on, you know, that you're supposed to be doing on the other side, you know, walking, getting your movement in, dancing, doing all different things, you know, would you say that like you've seen significant changes in your body? Like how, like what's been like that?
Technically, since I started with you, my first training session was November 26th.
Okay.
But was I following a strict plan then? No. Since I've been training with you, I've lost 20 pounds.
It's awesome.
Way more to go. But I definitely feel different.
And y'all, this is January, so
I feel different.
Like that's huge.
Yeah.
Like,
I feel different. My energy, like I can get out of bed in the morning and I'm like not just laying there. I think I told you that the other day. I'm like, I actually have energy. And plus fight. Like, I drink fight every single day. I'm not, fight is like
strawberry, blueberry, which
strawberry.
one?
I'm team strawberry all the way.
Strawberry,
She had 5 canisters left. I was like, girl, save me one.
Right.
Because I'm like,
oh my gosh. Which
that
I love that.
helps so much. Like, truly, if I don't drink fight, I'm not okay.
Yeah.
Like,
I feel that. I'm the same way.
I'm angry or something. Like, I'm not.
I mean, the nootropics, it's a mood booster.
And it's all the vitamins. Like, if you start going without your vitamins, you're going to feel yourself like decline a little bit.
Yeah.
I definitely, it's like changed my workouts. It's changed, like,
When it helps you, you know, drink more water too. I remember you talking about that. It's, you know, being a goal too.
Yeah.
And it's so,
my back doesn't hurt.
Yes. I love that.
That's like,
and that's huge.
Getting just a little weight off right now is just really benefited me because I stand so much too.
Yes. Oh yeah, you're always on your feet. But also don't diminish, because this is such a thing of like, I had someone show me a picture, and they're gonna post it here soon, and they've been on the podcast, but of their like transformation, right? Of just like from working with me for I want to say it's been a year and a half or so. But she was like, that took me from that to that a year. And I said, these are two completely different bodies. Like, I don't care if it took you 3 years or it took you 6 months or whatever. That's irrelevant. Like, because she kind of, I think she's like, I mean, it took a full year. It's like, bruh, how long were you in a negative state? Or like with you, with like the relationships, right? I always talk about like when you are in it, because I've been in it, when you're in a bad relationship or, toxic, whatever, that tar, like that black tar on you.
Period. That's a great way to describe it.
Right? Like, and that's essentially, if we're talking like visually, like that's the body fat. That's the armor. That's the everything holding on, that fight or flight,
I feel like when your body, at least for me, I've learned when my body's in survival mode, it won't do anything.
Correct.
Or if I'm in a state of stress, like there's no way I could lose weight, gain weight.
Yeah.
But like there's no way that I could make strides in an environment that's not nobody's growing.
Yeah. Let's talk about that too, because again, it's like, it goes back to, I mean, I've literally lived it with the whole, the hormone stuff, right? And how when you're younger, when you're younger, you listen to these stories and you're like, okay, like they're just old. Like, you know what I mean? And not to be mean, whatever, to people who've gone through menopause, premenopause, whatever. But or like they're like, oh, my hormones. It's like, hey everyone, thank you so much for listening to the LYB podcast. If you haven't yet, please go check out the How to Love Your Body Throughout book on Amazon. This is my very first book. I am so proud of it. It is a short read. You can also get it on Kindle. So it's not a huge commitment, but it is something of a self-help book. So if you're someone who's looking for support, you're looking for tools, you're looking for just a way to feel better during this holiday season and into the new year, I definitely recommend it. I put my heart and soul into this, and this is just the start. So if you haven't yet, go on Amazon and get your first copy. It's so real that people don't even realize that, like, when one of them, like, we take it for granted, right? Like, I never thought my hormones could become an issue because of my diet. It didn't correlate that that's how that worked, right? Or because of my stress. And literally, like, with everything with like the eye and all that stuff and whatever, because of the poor like bodybuilding diet, because of the lack of nutrients, right? Because of the over supplementation, things that I didn't even need, right? That that coach, had me doing stuff. It's like, again, that's why when I look at it, I'm like, I did not realize. People talk about burnout, and I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely in that burnout stage or whatever. I mean, you remember me running crazy, right? But all over the place. I mean, I think one time you were braiding my hair at like 9 o'clock at night. Let's be real.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I mean, like casual, because I trained all day long, whatever. But it was like no one ever mentioned to me that burnout could equal autoimmune disease or could equal stress to where, people have heart attacks. Where I posted about the thing, and Megan told me her brother had a stroke because of he was doing such hard, intense like dieting and like doing all the stuff and whatever. A stroke.
That's crazy.
And that was like without steroids and stuff. Like, I mean, that's just like natural out here, So that's where I'm like, again, maybe we should have all just known that, right? Maybe it should have, or there should be better language on it. But no, everyone posts all the positive and the reels and all this stuff. And I think I said something on a thing the other day that I was like, it gets really disheartening. Or I don't think I posted it yet, but I was like, I think it's so disheartening for me when people celebrated me being sick. You know what I mean?
That's deep.
And it's like, and it's
messed up, girl.
Right? And so that is what right there, that's what needs to change. And like,
because you always say like, just because you're smaller doesn't mean you're healthy.
Correct.
And it's like, when you say it like that, you don't really even know how many smaller bodied people are like sick.
Right.
And it's like that stigma does need to change. And I feel like love your body. It's just in your book too. Like people need to read, and like this mission needs to be heard all across the world, because that right there, I mean, it was so deep. So,
well, thank you. Yeah. I remember you were like, sign my book. And I was like, yeah. And it made my
your
whole
autograph.
Yeah. It made my whole day. I was like, oh my gosh. Cause again, again, there's a ton of people who were so supportive of that. Right. And then there were others that were just like, I don't read.
Okay.
And I was like, it's 47 pages and like 7 of them are testimonials. So it's really like 40 pages.
Yeah.
And again, there's tools, there's activities. Like it is. So again, it's that whole thing of when you say that to me means you don't want to change. So I look at that differently. Like you
just don't care.
Yeah. Like it's just like, again, because I think some people truly believe it will never change.
Yeah.
Society will be this way forever. But again, if anything has shown us that there have been trends, there have been waves, there have been pockets of things, right? That truly, if somebody who's speaking real comes through that, like it could break the barrier.
Yep.
You know? And so anyway, so it is such a, I want to say like, not a big task. It feels like an impossible task, but I know that it can change people's lives because I've watched it. I know people who literally who have sent me messages and stuff that I haven't even spoken with in years. And they're like, I see you. I like everything that you've taught me can still, I'm getting married. And I think about this all the time when you said to do this, you know what I mean? And it's like, it does change people and their mindset.
Absolutely.
And it can relate to everything. And that's why I think loving your body is not just about, yes, you love the way it looks and whatever. And it's like, you're feeling strong, sexy, whatever, but it's how you view other people. It's what relationships you accept, what relationships you want, the people that you want to surround yourself with, the life that you want to have for yourself.
Yeah.
So I just, like I said, you're completely embodying that. And that means so much to me because, again, we've known each other for such a long time now. And it makes me so happy to see that you're, putting forth that and
it's about time, girl.
It. I mean, but that's okay because some people don't ever, Marissa.
Yeah,
there's people that I know
true.
that have known me since I was a child and that still act the way they act and still eat the way they eat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So again, I think that anyone listening to this, whether you're 30, 50, 70, whatever, you still have time to change this mindset.
Absolutely.
The whole idea of the whole depiction, like seriously, when you watch TV and you watch Netflix or whatever, the whole depiction of an old woman, literally an older woman being like, I've earned the right to not care what anyone thinks. That whole notion of
yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
They're like, now I don't care because it doesn't matter. And I'm, whatever. And I'm like, how about we have a 30-year-old saying it? How about we have a 21? You know what I mean? How about we have now saying it, right?
Absolutely.
And I found that to be interesting. And I watched the Barbie movie.
Yeah.
Finally, and
it's interesting.
It's interesting. I really did like it more than I thought I would.
Yeah.
And
did you cry at the end?
Yeah, a little bit. Actually.
I know, Sam, it got sad.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's but when I looked when she's looking to the older woman and I think she said something like, "You're beautiful," and she was like, "I know."
Oh,
you know what I mean, though?
Yes.
That was such I thought that no one talked about that moment, but I feel like it was that was such a great moment.
That was the most powerful moment to me in the whole movie.
Really?
I loved that part.
Right?
Because it was two worlds colliding. And she passed the torch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was very sweet, but.
Yeah. But
so true.
And so, with you seeing this, because I'm sure, you've done bodybuilding shows, you've done, you go overall to some, celebrities, I'm sure, with makeup, all different people, walks of life, right? Do you ever hear, I can just imagine kind of what's in the room. Do people, when they get their makeup and hair done, yes, do you feel like they feel, truly beautiful and you see them light up? And then, but before that, do you feel like it's do you know what I'm trying to say? Do you feel like it's the makeup and the hair makes them feel beautiful, before, they didn't feel like that? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people need the vanity to feel beautiful. And some people naturally embody it. Yeah. I will say in the bodybuilding competitions and stuff, a lot of the women sit in my chair and they're like, I know I'm a baddie. I've worked for this body. I've lost 65 pounds or whatever.
Right.
And they're excited. And then there's some that's it took me so long. And it's just it comes from a place of not feeling their best.
Yeah.
So it's still like that toxic mindset a little bit.
Right.
But my goal in doing people's makeup is to help them feel beautiful no matter if they feel it or not. If you feel it already, I want you to feel like your best self ever. And if you haven't, I want you to be able to look in the mirror and say, wow, I feel really good about myself today.
Right.
Even if it's for a few hours.
Yeah.
Like that's my goal, is to always share that, have everyone kind of share that feeling.
And you definitely do, because even with me, like I don't really like a ton of makeup, right? You can tell them if you want, but it's like,
she doesn't need makeup.
You're so sweet.
So when she decides to wear it, it's very minimal. But you don't like, you're truly like naturally so pretty. You don't even need like skin, like your face, you don't have like blemishes and stuff like that.
Thanks.
Like your face is very clear and like smooth. So I understand, but you totally could rock full glam, and you have.
Right.
So.
Yeah. We've had a couple moments. Dude, I was on one. I could not. I went to the fair looking like that. Like it was hilarious.
I can't believe that was at the fair.
Yes.
I'm going to have to post it on stories or something and be like, this was Danny at the fair.
Literally.
Full glam.
Full glam.
After a show.
Like Daisy Duke shorts. Like, so I think I was wearing wedge heels.
Your hair
honestly,
was curled and so big.
Curled and some braids and like fake eyelashes. But I was just like, why not? Like, literally, why not? Because afterwards we went out to like dinner, but we didn't go out. I was like tired. And I had the eye stuff, all the things, whatever. That like when that came around and we could go to the fair and so I was like, we rolling out. I'm gonna look good. And
you look so good.
And, oh my gosh, that was like such an epic morning. And I was like, I'm just gonna eat some First Watch while you make me look amazing. And but I was like,
you did,
yeah, it was so fun. But anyway, but the thing is I think some people think with the makeup like, okay, well, y'all probably only do like the glam or whatever. No, you've done times with me like it's very minimal, but it just looked so beautiful. Like because I have a hard time doing my own makeup, hence why I need people like Glam Up and. Especially if I am pale, it's so hard for me to even do like a bronzer, like a base or whatever. And that's why I like getting my spray tans, with Shauna and stuff. But so you just do it, you blend it so nicely and it looks so clean. And a lot of times I'm like, I don't feel like looking like anyone else besides myself. Like I don't feel like looking done up to the point, like, whatever. And you're like, okay, you accept it. Like, so I think sometimes people just do it their own way and they say it's okay. They're like, okay, and they still do it. You really listen. And that makes me.
And that's the thing. I love that you said that because I really try and understand my client.
Yeah.
I'm always like on a level of like pantyhose to leggings. What do you want your skin to look like?
Yes. Yeah.
And sometimes with you, I push the grain a little bit, but
which is good. Like the black lip or whatever.
I feel like we've got it.
Like the dark lip you did. That was good. That was a vibe. It was good.
It was and I'm glad you liked it.
Oh, for sure.
But I feel like I bring people out of their comfort zone just a little bit, but not enough for them to be like, okay, let me take this off right now. Because, that's a little too much. But I really try to understand what you guys want because I want you to feel like yourself if that's what you want to feel like.
Yeah.
And not like you're being catfished.
Yeah. No, which has been great. And especially because of my stuff with like my eye, you've been very understanding with that and like helpful, and that's been great too. So, but makeup can do that. And that's where it's like, again, it's not about, cause if there's any men listening, to the podcast and stuff, which I know you are. But so it's like, it's one of those things where they, I think sometimes think that with makeup it just makes us look so different and like in whatever and then they get kind of certain type of way, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, we want a natural look, but it's like a natural look is not what you think a natural look is, Some
people show me a natural look and it's a picture of Kim Kardashian.
Right. Yeah, like,
and I'm like,
the people are that dense.
You mean neutral?
Yes.
You mean neutral, not natural.
Right. There's a difference.
But yes.
Yeah. And so it is one of those things of, it's not about us wearing makeup for me, at least, I speak for myself. It's more of a, like how you do it like an artist. Like it really makes you feel just like a higher level of yourself.
Yep.
And not like I'm trying to look like anybody else. Like it's just a nice little, some eyeshadow, some little bit of glam, just whatever. But like, especially when you're dealing with stuff internally, like when I went to the doctor the other day, the doctor said something like, you're dealing with a silent disability because nobody sees it. And I took that to heart because I was like, yeah, like, thank you for acknowledging that.
Yeah.
That it is difficult and things are harder to like just maneuver and whatever.
That's a crazy way to put it. I mean, that's so true.
And yeah. And so it's one of those things where it's like, again, not going to use it as a crutch or like define me, but really like me getting a spray tan, like makes me feel better, you know? And it's just like, it's something different and like getting my hair done or whatever, just because I can. And like, you know, it's the way I laugh all the time because I'm like, everyone will be like, oh, you got your hair done and like spray tan. Like, what are you doing this weekend? And it's like, nothing.
Chilling.
Like, but it's not for anybody or for anything. It's just like for me, you know? Because like even this morning I worked out in my booty shorts for the first time in like a long time.
Good for you.
And I was like, thanks. And but I just woke up feeling like a vibe. And it was like, and that was something that was, you know, again, I had my braids ready to go. Didn't have to worry about splitting or tying up my hair or getting annoyed or whatever. It's just like, they're ready to go.
Yep.
The tan was tanning. Like, you know, it just, so again, it's like those little things. And that is like where I talk back in like interviews about like the tire flip, right? Like that day when I posted that, I was at my lowest. I mean,
That's crazy.
I was so sad. Like the night before, I think I cried myself to sleep. You know, I'm in Connect, influencer, but I'm injured, you know, feeling like lonely because that was like however many months after Wes had passed away, like what, 3 months, you know, so still dealing with that. And then literally I was like, what was a day that I felt amazing? And so what I told myself was I got out of bed, which I didn't have to get out of bed that day. I didn't have clients, nothing, right? So I literally, instead of sleeping and just eating in bed, like I got out of bed and was like, I had already scheduled a spray tan. I scheduled a blowout for my hair, whatever. And then, I think it was something else because this was before I started working with you. But yeah, and then schedule something else. But anyway, but I just had this whole day planned of like self-care. And I was like, I'm going to have a good day. And literally I posted that video and then like left it, like just let it chill. And even my hair, the girl that was doing my hair was like, it was like, what is that? Is that you? And I was like, yeah, I was like from like, you know, 2 years ago, whatever. And yeah, and then just like put it up and then literally put my phone away and didn't even see everything until that night. You know what I'm saying? But it was because like, but you know what I'm saying?
Viral sensation.
But like, it was just because I like needed that, like to get myself up out of it. And so going to do those things, like someone just doing my hair and washing it for me, you know, like
it goes a long way.
Like, yeah. So what you do is very important. And so again, I want to always like continue to tell you that because I think that it can be easy to get lost in the negativity and hearing others maybe like, you know, not like their makeup or not feel their best or whatever, you know. And I know we've talked about with bodybuilding how it can be so disheartening hearing the stories of people not loving themselves. Yeah. You know?
Totally.
And do you feel like, as we're kind of, you know, coming to an end and stuff, like, do you feel like what would you say is kind of like your main intention with this next year? Because I mean, because you're still a new company, right? So you're still new in your business. You now are on this real healthy lifestyle journey, right? You're not doing the quick fixes. You're not trying to crash diet, whatever, all the stuff. You're taking it day by day. So like, what is something that you're like most looking forward to? Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to becoming a new version of myself. Like the version of myself that I've always envisioned.
Yeah.
And with that, everything else will quite literally flow with it.
Yeah.
When I'm my best self, or when I will be my best self, everything else around me is just like, it just will fall where it needs to.
Yeah. Do you believe that we have like a cap though? Do you believe that when you say your best self, or do you believe that even like when you get to that point, there's going to be another best self?
Oh, yeah. I'm always growing. I'm always learning. I always want to be better than I was the day before.
Good.
And
which is important.
I'm never the type to be like, oh, I'm perfect. Like,
right.
No.
Which is what I think a lot of people who listen, who are like, just they're trying to figure out what the secret is. They're trying to figure out.
There's not one.
Right. They're trying to the pill, the shot. They're trying to figure out what can get them to be like their self to where it's just like life is great. And I'll tell you, you guys.
It's your mind.
It is. Because even I have people who are such low body fat and very small bodied that hate every day of their life. Okay. Hate their body, all of it. So like they don't look up to those people. Don't look up to, you know, people who are posting only the good stuff. You know what I mean? Like really, truly take it as like you are on this journey and like look at this season. What in this season can you do that can propel you forward, right? And then like look at the next season. Like it's like there's always going to be something. And no matter how, like even when I was like my smallest with bodybuilding, there were things that were easier, right? Shopping was a little bit easier. Wearing a bathing suit, yeah, also all these things were a little bit easier. But I still remember like, because I am a larger framed body, I still remember having things where like I still was bigger than a lot of the girls. Do you know what I mean? Like it was not ever like, I think at some point I was like, maybe at some point I'll like fit in finally, or like people will like, you know what I mean? And I was like, I will never fit in, and I'm not meant to. You know what I mean? I'm always meant to stand out. Like
Danny, you thick girl.
Yeah. Like, but that's the
Like,
thing. Like,
in the best way, always.
You're so
But
funny.
yeah, I'm glad that you feel that way, because I feel like you say that, like, larger frame, but I don't see you that way.
I remember you telling me that.
Like,
yeah.
I don't, like, I know that you're in your own perspective of like yourself, but I hate that, like, even like in a room full of all the bodybuilder women, like you still feel like you're larger. And I'm like, you're just thick.
Yeah. Well,
Like
I think
you-
like dense, like is more of like, you know, like I was looking at like earlier with like my legs or whatever, and like
You're curvy.
like, but there's like, I mean, they're quantity size, like they're big, like, you know what I mean? But I was like, but it's solid, just quad, like looking at it, you know?
You're so muscular.
And so, yeah, but it's like, which is so great. And so it's like one of those things where it's like looking at that, there were so many times where I was like, I'm doing everything perfect. I can't do anything else. I can't do any more cardio. I can't, you know, whatever. Like in that sense of whatever. Now, if my metabolism would have been maybe in a healthier state and a coach not doing what he was doing, then body comp would probably have looked a little bit different. But there's still things with your DNA that like certain people don't have. Even Matt's been on this podcast, my old trainer, and he's like, I've never had a 6-pack. He's one of the most athletic, lean, pro strongmen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's like, I've never had like a ripped 6-pack. That's not in his DNA. That's not how his body, you know what I mean?
That's so true.
Is made. So I think that's an important thing for people to understand too, is that like, again, our bodies, like we all have a certain like spot where we're like, I feel our healthiest, our bodies feel safe, feel good. And that might not look like how everyone thinks it should look.
Exactly.
And that's the whole mission. That's the whole thing.
And that's one thing that I had to get out of my head. Is like, I know I've seen my body at its smallest from what I know.
Right.
I've seen my body at its biggest. And throughout all of those, I've never had a 6-pack.
Yeah.
I've always been thick myself. But it's one of those things, like you said, it's just a part of like your body and your stature.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, and so I think that it's more so about like, again, continuing to share the message and continuing to set the example.
Absolutely.
So that people can see that it's not some
one size fits all.
Yeah.
Because I personally expected, not in the beginning of this journey with you, but in the beginning of me ever wanting to get healthy, I was going to join the military at one time. And I was like, I have to be able to run 10-minute mile and like have a 6-pack and like be able to like have all the stamina and like, but it's just like not realistic. And once I learned that my journey and my body is going to do what it wants and that what it needs for itself, like I'm okay with being healthy and not having a 6-pack if that means I still love my body.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. But it's also because what are you doing right there? Like so everybody listening, it's like what Marissa just said is that she looked at her body and what it's capable of. You know what I mean? From DNA to genetics to, you know, all of the things, right? To injuries to, you know, internally, like there's so many different levels. So again, it's this unrealistic, unobtainable thing to say that you can look like XYZ or this other person. You know what I mean? So that's why it's always so it's so interesting to me when people train with trainers that they want to look like. I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Like, I just think it's so funny.
I've been a victim of that in my
really
early life of, you remember the Rush? The Rush. It was a gym way back before Gold's.
Maybe, yeah.
Anyways, I trained with a trainer who I wanted to look like her. And she was ripped. I mean, she was beautiful.
Yeah.
Ripped, 8-pack.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, all that. And it was just like, now that I'm older and can look back, like that just wasn't meant for me. But yeah, I agree with what you're saying.
But I think that's, again, another stereotype. And it's very easy to fall in trap that. And a lot of men do that. A lot of dudes out there trying to look like C-Bum. You know what I mean?
Oh, gosh.
Like,
the man's in a league of his own.
right. But that's the thing is, like, I mean, and think about all those men, like C-Bum, they were trying to look like Arnold until they realized, oh, actually, I look pretty great myself. Like, you know what I mean? And that's why they've been able to be successful. Like, so because they took what they could do, you know what I mean? Try to kind of emulate it, but also like really focus on like what their muscle development was. Like, And so that's where I think it's that fine line of we got to come back to be realistic about what you can do. What's your lifestyle journey? Like if I would have told you, hey, you need to work out 7 days a week, you'd be like, dang, like I can't.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I could, but like, it's going to kill me. Like I'm on my feet all the time anyway. Like that's not realistic to your journey. That's not healthy. So it's like, again, doing some online thing that people are just spitting out, being like, you know what I mean? Like you need to go do all this stuff. I mean, I'll never forget when my best friend said something about she did this plan and it like had a lot of dairy in it. And I was like, okay, so like, why did you get a meal plan online from some random like trainer person? She's like, oh, well, she's like big on Instagram or whatever.
It worked for her.
And, yeah, but I was like, well, can you tolerate dairy? Well, not really. And I was like, so like you probably shouldn't have done that plan, right? Like, you see what I mean? But it was, again, wanting to look like that person. And it's just like, guys, like 90% of the time, I say like 99% of the time, but like those people that they're telling you what to do, like didn't get the body by doing those things. It's a marketing tactic.
And I was about to say, they're trying to make a check.
Yes.
They don't really care about, they just want people to buy their course. They don't really care about if it works or not.
Yeah. So, and again, too, I think that it's important for, as we close out, like I do want to ask you, when kind of, I know you're on this journey of wanting to love yourself, but if you had to, today, because I'm going to ask you, tell me something that you do love about your body, what would it be?
I love my smile.
I love your smile too. It's beautiful.
I really love my quads these days.
Yes.
I'm loving seeing my little muscles pop out.
Yeah.
I think that's because of you.
Oh,
I love that. Like, I just love feeling like I have strong legs.
Yeah.
I love that.
Well, it's awesome to see.
Yeah.
And like, you are strong,
Thank you.
So it's, we were talking about that the other day, in there and you were doing some exercise and I was like, yeah, I mean, you just did like 40 reps of that. So yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like what maybe would be 1 rep max for somebody. You're just like repping it out. So like you are strong. So, and that's what is that the whole negativity of certain sizes being told that they're not when that's not true.
Yeah.
And that is, you just need someone that appreciates, you know what I mean? All bodies.
Correct.
And can find what that strengths, what your strengths are and everything like that. So
that's why you're the best trainer.
Hey, you heard it
That's
here.
why you're the
first
best.
on the LYB podcast. Oh
Period.
my gosh. Oh, I thank you so much for that, Marissa. And like I said, it's been really special getting to be a part of your journey and to see, everything you've done, and you are gifted and talented. And I'm just so excited to see you, in this entrepreneurial, growth and everything. And
Thank you.
And yeah. And so, real quick, if you could leave the listeners with anything that you want to say to them, just, whether it's like entrepreneur mindset or it's, with physical or whatever, what would you say?
I can simplify it to fight for what you want.
Look at that.
I feel like that truly applies to everything.
Yes.
Like that's become my new mantra.
I swear.
In entrepreneurship and movement and body, loving your body, like fighting for what you want is like, that's a secret.
Oh, I love it.
T.
Y'all, you're going to follow us both on social media so you can see her tattoo that she's going to get. And she's going to walk in one day.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be like, no. Instant photo shoot. Like instant.
I'm telling you.
I love it. I love it. Awesome. All right. Until next time, you guys.